Hello and welcome back to Nathan Bell's podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe and share with your friends. Today, Nate would like to talk about his old band, Hadron C.
Yeah, well, I spoke about Hadron C before in these videos. Hadron C is the first creative project I really did as a young adult. I started it when I was about 20 years old with a couple of mates of mine from Maitland, Adam and Peter Fraser, who are brothers. And me and Hadron C recorded 2 albums over 5 years. I worked on this between the age of 20 and 25, and under the first album we were called Fall Down Blind, and the album was called Last Avenue, and we recorded that album and it had 14 songs, and Adam Fraser wrote all the instrumentals for that album, and he wrote them in Fruity Loops, which is like a reasonable software which some people muck around with, and he wrote some really great instrumentals for that first album. So it was a hip-hop album and I was doing the vocals, and I wrote all the lyrics, and we recorded the lyrics at Peter's house, at his apartment at the time. He was always into sound engineering and he did mixing and mastering, and he had all this recording equipment. So Adam did all the instrumentals for the first album in Fruity Loops, and then I recorded my vocals at Peter's house, and Peter mixed and mastered the album. And also we got this girl on board for about probably 4 or 5 of the songs. Her name was Kate Hobbins, and we contacted her through a music school, which we reached out to find a singer who could feature on some of the songs. And she recorded sections, hooks and stuff for about 4 or 5 of the songs. And she did an absolutely fantastic job. I don't think we paid her. I think she volunteered for that, but she wanted the experience. So there were 14 songs on the first album, and that was fantastic. And we tried to film a few music videos for that at the time. This was just about when YouTube was going to start. This was in like 2005, 2006, 2007, just when YouTube was kicking off. And I had a video recorder and we tried to film a few videos. Those videos don't exist anymore, but that we did a few at the time, and that was when I started mucking around with video work. Then we took a bit of a pause for a year or so. Then we came back and me and Peter got back together and we started working on the second album, Pre-Apocalyptic, and now we were called Hadron C after the Hadron Collider, because I wanted to have a name that reflected science, so I called myself Hadron C after the Hadron Collider. And we recorded another 14-track album, Pre-Apocalyptic, which is available on Spotify and streaming services through Mondo Tunes, the digital distribution provider, and is also, some of it is available on YouTube. And this time we got a bit more serious, and we filmed 2 music videos, 2 major music videos. We filmed a video, Apocalyptic Nightmare, which I paid a man in Sydney named Ian Nicholson to direct. I paid Ian about $800, which was mates' rates. He did us a real good favour. And Ian directed and filmed and edited Apocalyptic Nightmare. And we went down to Sydney for the day. We had to be up very early in the morning because Ian wanted to use the rising sun on my face to show that I was looking at an atomic explosion. And we did that, and we filmed the sun rising shot early in the morning. Then we filmed the rest of the video around Sydney for Apocalyptic Nightmare, and the video is very elaborate. It's got all these action scenes and gunfights in it. Then once Ian was finished editing the video, we handed it over to a special effects studio we contacted in Los Angeles called Final Light, who did the special effects for the gunfights and the nuclear explosion of a nuclear bomb at the end of the video. And I paid for all of that with my Centrelink loan, which you get from Centrelink when you're on the pension. You can get a loan of $1,000, and that's how I paid for all of that, and I saved some of it. And then 6 months later, we did the Rise Up music video, which I paid for with my next Centrelink loan, so I can get 2 a year. And we filmed that ourselves in Newcastle, and we hired a girl named Bella Samut who's a professional dancer. I don't know if she does it anymore, but she was fantastic. We hired Bella Simone and paid her, I think, $500 to dance. Now, this girl did fantastic work. I paid for her services, and she spent about a week choreographing the dance before the actual filming. And then when she was getting filmed on the day, it was in an abandoned lot in Newcastle, so it looked like a war zone. And she just followed instructions perfectly and worked very hard. I want to praise Bella Simone on her excellent work and her strong work ethic and her willingness to take direction and to not muck around. She didn't muck around at all. She just worked hard, and it took probably about 4 hours to film the music video. And then she went home, and that was the last I ever saw her. So she did excellent work. Then I edited the video in iMovie on my Mac, and I edited the whole video, then handed over again to the effects studio Final Light in Los Angeles, who I paid a further, I think it was $600 or $700 for them to add some special effects to the music video. And there were some special effects of her having superpowers in the video, where she does all this stuff where she has superpowers. So she was meant to be this super tough revolutionary feminist girl in the video who was taking charge, because the video was Rise Up. It was a very radical anti-Iraq war music video it was. And I wrote a lot of anti-war songs across the 2 Hadron C albums. Then I put together a series of lyric videos using graphics which we paid for. We hired people on the website Fiverr to create the Hadron C graphics for the lyric videos. Then we published it all to YouTube, and then it sort of didn't really go anywhere. We also did a few gigs, played a few shows around Newcastle at a few hip-hop events, probably about maybe 7 or 8 shows, but then it sort of didn't get any views and didn't go anywhere, and Peter wasn't really interested in doing it anymore, and I moved on, and about that time I started Open Foundation and started uni, so I sort of moved on from that, and I moved on to other projects, and only a couple of years after that I ended up with Renew Newcastle doing a documentary. So I put Hadron C aside, but I still promote Hadron C, and I still like people to watch Hadron C, and I've had lots of good feedback from people who've seen Hadron C who say they like the songs and they like the music videos, lots of positive feedback. So I'd still like Hadron C to blow up. You can look it all up on YouTube, it's still there. So I'd still like it to blow up, and I'd still think it would be great if it got popular now, but it's been there on YouTube for about 10 years, and some of the videos have only had 200-300 views, so I was a bit disappointed that it didn't get popular. But yeah, that's a bit about my first major project, my first band, political rap band, Hadron C. We spent about 5 or 6 years on that in total, and I spent several $1,000s on that, and it was a lot of fun. So check out Hadron C on YouTube and drop a comment in the comment section about what creative projects you've been part of.